Hi, welcome to my channel. Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to be talking about phase 2 of our Safer at Home project. And before we go to phase 2, I'd like to kind of revisit some of the things we did last week with regards to our concept exploration and identifying parts of the home that we enter in order to address some of the decontamination and to create sort of a clean environment before, or clean conditions before we enter our home. Okay, so let's go back in time. It's only a couple of weeks. When we first kicked off the project, we started to identify all the different factors that had to do with our connection to the outside environment. That had everything to do from running errands like shopping, picking up deliveries, um, accessories that we bring with us when we're going outside, our clothing, and also considering the safe distance around between other people and trying to keep that distancing in check. Okay, so once we were able to identify those things, we went back in and started to kind of think about, well, what would be that optimum safe environment, right, when we're home? And you could already be practicing this in your own house. Here was just a quick idea of creating some sort of a storage unit that would allow us to separate and have a clean area, a place to remove our shoes and to put them away, just as an area just to kind of park ourselves before we enter the home. And then what we did was we went ahead and let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit more. It's a bit easier for us to look at. We started to look at scenarios. You know, we kind of said, well, let's go ahead and play this through in the form of a storyboard. So we went ahead and just kind of created a day in the life and really tried to figure this out. And what we found in this scenario was that we needed to kind of isolate the area because there are a lot of uncontrolled elements here, like maybe a child who just is too young to understand that, hey, you got to stop and clean yourself before you come into the house. And maybe he's got a little pet dog here that doesn't care at all. And what do we do in this scenario? Do we slow things down? Do we create a place to sit and rest? And then once we've gone ahead and decontaminated and cleaned ourselves up, then we're free to enter the home. And this could be maybe a barrier or some sort of a gate. I don't know, but it's just exploring this idea and trying to identify what these possibilities could be in the form of a storyboard. So we took what we learned from the storyboard and we threw it back at our environment here. Let me zoom back out so we can kind of see everything. And what we did was we realized that we may have to create some sort of an island or a pit, so that this could be an area that could possibly, allow us to sit with a chair in the area, in the space, and maybe clean our feet, maybe put our shoes away. We would probably have some sort of pull-out drawer that we could place our bags or personal belongings, maybe a pull-out rack here that allows us to hang our clothes and to spray disinfectant, and maybe even an area here where we could sit and look at our mail and maybe sort through things. So going through the whole storyboarding process is really helpful for us to kind of go back and revisit our ideas. Okay, so once we had that down, we started to take a look at, well, what if that whole concept could be this, maybe it could work even in the outside as well. So what we did was we split the zones. Maybe there was a kind of a first line of attack here where you can actually clean all the things out before you bring them in the home, right? So that could be a possibility. And the whole idea here was to allow this decontamination to literally run off, right, to the outside of the home. With a sink area. Maybe there's going to be some light storage. These, I don't believe these are showers. This is basically just lighting here. But we go ahead and look at the interior application. Maybe the whole idea of maybe instead of these small gates, maybe it's a whole door. It's a whole partition that that has some sort of electronic lock that when you are decontaminated, it would actually allow these doors to unlock to allow you to go into the home. So what we want to do now is we have these ideas, they're a little bit refined. What we want to do now is we want to go to phase 2 where we pick one or the other and we address it in a real life space. And what that is going to be your space, right? Your space that you're living in. Maybe it's your apartment, maybe it's a house that you're renting or relatives. home, maybe it's your parents' home, maybe it's your own home, but I want you to take your environment and I want you to take some measurements, take a look at the configuration, and fit your idea into that space. Okay, so here we are in phase 2. So what are you going to need for phase 2? Well, I think you're still going to want to work by hand, so I'd like you to do some sketching. So you still want to do some pen sketching. You may need some way to record the interior, the exterior of your space, so maybe a digital camera, right? Maybe you can use the camera that's on your phone, right? So you can probably do something like that. Or you can, and you're also going to need a tape measure. The tape measure is going to be handy for measuring out space, being a little more precise, because you're going to need this dimensional information when we go to phase 3. Okay? So the first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and photograph your space. Just go ahead and pull this sheet off. So now, here's a space that I photographed, and you can see I was already kind of thinking about it when I was doing my concept work. I was bringing the sketch back, so I can imagine this sort of partition coming into the space. So you can see there's a doorway. You can see how the front end of the space is configured. You can see already there's some safe at home practicing happening already, but it's kind of loose, right? There's just, it's not really partitioned off, so that could be a great potential for transforming that space. And then when I pull over and take a look at the other side of the door, I'm looking at the outside of that space, and you can see already this sketch here, this already kind of has the same configuration. There's a little bit of a wider angle in this area here, and maybe there could be some way of integrating this feature into this portion of the entryway of the home. Okay, so you can see where I'm headed with this. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to measure off that space, and once you've got some rough overall dimensions, what I want you to do is I want you to take some tracing paper. Okay, and I have a little pad here, Cethco tracing paper. And I know we bought some tracing paper at the beginning of the semester. I literally want you to take a sheet of paper out, overlay your photographs, and start doing some sketches. Okay, so what I'm going to do in my next video is I'm going to go through that whole process of using the photographs I've taken of my space and just go ahead and translate some of these ideas and see how they square up with the space that I have. And then we can get a real good picture of where we want to go with our designs, whether we want to go inside or want to go outside. All right? So stay tuned for my next video. We're going to do a little more design work and kick off phase 2. All right? Thanks for watching. See you at the next video.